This is Hockey Talk, where we talk everything hockey. I am John.
Mike.
All right, Mike, let's go. Now, the first thing on the docket tonight. Now, we were going to discuss all Western Conference teams and things this evening, but I want to bring up the Boston Bruins just because of what happened the other night. So, the Bruins fired head coach Jim Montgomery on Tuesday, in case anybody doesn't know. Assistant coach Joe Sacco has taken over on an interim basis. The Bruins were 8-9-3, and they let them go after they lost to Columbus the other night, like I said. As we said recently, those numbers, 8-9-3, are not Bruin like numbers. I mean, they haven't had numbers like that in 20 years easy. They lost 5-1 Monday night, and Montgomery won the Jack Adams Award as the NHL's top coach last year, or 2023, with a record of 120, 41, and 23. An incredible coaching record, Mike. You got to admit, that's incredible. Should Montgomery have been fired, Mike? What do you think?
I think this is more of a message to the team that they've got to wake up because there are some guys on that team that just have not played well, at least not as well as they did last year, and it's all their centermen. Um, Lindholm came in. He started off all right, but he hasn't done anything for a couple of weeks now. Zaka and Coyle have been terrible. So, I mean, they've both resorted back to what they were when Zaka was with New Jersey, who he wasn't very good there. And when Coyle was with Minnesota and San Jose, he wasn't great in those spots. And last year, like I had said, and I believe it was during some of the shows last year, I'm like, the Bruins always seem to find a way to get a little bit more out of these guys that underproduced where they were playing prior to, but this year they're just not. And Pasternak got benched there for whatever it was, a period there a few weeks back, and he's played all right, but I mean last year he was like tearing it up. So this
Right.
year slowed down a little bit, but as I said, when you have no centermen that are producing, Lindholm is their highest pointed centerman with 9 points, and that's not good enough. That's Philadelphia Flyer level production at center. So you're not going to win many games like that. Um, so yeah, I think this is more a message to the team that they've got to shake this off. And Swayman has not been good either. Corpusalo has been, Corpusalo. So you're not going to get anything special out of him. So we'll see if this helps change things up there in Boston. Because if not, they're going to lose their spot to Buffalo, maybe Ottawa for the playoff spot this year.
Okay. Well, do you believe that Sacco is good enough to take over permanently, or that does he even have a shot at taking over permanently?
Well, I think they're going to see how he does between now and most likely the end of the season. I think they've got to give him at least that. I can't see them, unless he absolutely turns out to not be able to do anything with this team. I see him there for at least the rest of the year. I'm not overly familiar with his coaching style or what he's done as far as coaching prior to.
Okay.
Um, I'm more familiar with him from way back when he was playing, like back with the Maple Leafs and that sort of thing. So I can't really say as far as an opinion on him yet because I'm not that familiar with his style as of yet.
How long do you think Montgomery will be out of a job?
It might not be that long. With him coming into play, maybe Chicago looks at him as maybe a coach. Maybe
Yeah.
he's a guy that would fit in there. Um, Pittsburgh, perhaps. I think those are a couple of options, anyways, depending on what those teams want to do. But I don't see any other teams getting desperate to change a coach at this point. So, other than those two.
Okay. Okay. Well, I figure he's not going to be on the market for too long, but I mean, with a record of 120, 41, and 23, that's incredible. That is an incredible record to be
Yeah.
to have. Wow, incredible! I couldn't believe it when I saw the numbers. I had to go back and check them to make sure I was reading it right, but that is the number, so pretty darn good. So let's go on to our second topic, and we'll get out to the West Coast here a little bit. The Utah Hockey Club has a record of 7-8-3 this year. It's not great. I was hoping for more from this team, Mike. Is there anything wrong with Utah? I mean, you and I both thought they were going to do better. They started out great. They've really died here recently. What do you think's going on? What are their glaring weaknesses? Do they have anything really outstanding here that's they have to address immediately?
Well, I think one of the things that really hurt this team was one of their top defensemen, Sean Dursey, ended up getting hurt, and he's out for a while. So, he was a good contributor on the back end for them, and with him going down, kind of coincided with the team starting to slide. Now, I'm not saying that he was the glue or whatnot that was keeping the team going the way it was. However, it definitely didn't help that he got hurt, and the goaltending has kind of become a little bit more what was expected of them before the season, which is average to maybe slightly above average, but they haven't performed at the high level that they did the first couple weeks of the season. And with that being said, the team is still quite young, so their top two lines are still productive, but the bottom two lines haven't really done much to contribute over the last couple of weeks. So, and when they are, then the top lines aren't producing. So it's trying to keep the team consistent, and with younger teams, it's hard to keep consistency going all the time. So, and I thought they were one of the teams that would challenge LA to take that spot away from the Kings in the playoffs, but looks like more and more that it's going to be Minnesota that's potentially going to take that spot. And I still think the Kings are going to miss the playoffs. I think Colorado and Edmonton are going to be the two teams that are kind of on the outside looking in right now that are going to get in.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's move on to our third topic for this evening, and that is, of course, the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Mike, we have to mention the Oilers here tonight because after a very bad loss to Montreal a few nights ago, 3-0, I mean, they didn't look very good, I didn't think.
Mm-hmm.
The very next night, the Oilers met the Ottawa Senators and they beat them 5-2. Now, I thought the Oilers were going to take off, and start really, adding up some wins here. But it seems like they're on this kick. Oh, we win a game, we lose a game, we win a game, we lose a game. This team looks really good on paper, but are they really that good? I mean, the Oilers are they going to turn it on now, or something wrong with this team? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, as far as the Oilers go, I think that you know the defense has changed up a bit from what they had last year. So they traded Ceci to San Jose, they lost Broberg to the offer sheet, um, and to replace them, they've brought in Emberson from San Jose.
Right.
And I mean, you're not going to get much out of him. I mean, he's more of a physical guy. But I think, and now with Darnell Nurse hurt, that doesn't help. So I
Oh, when
think
did he get hurt? The other
in
night?
the hit from Ryan Reeves there a
Uh,
couple games ago. So
okay.
I mean, he's going to be out for they said a week, so maybe a week to 10 days, whatever the case may be. But I think they need to do something with the defense, and I think if they end up making a move, they need a defenseman. Um, I know that the forwards have not been consistent other than McDavid and Dreisaitl, so they've got to get Nugent Hopkins going. They've got to get Skinner going. Arvidsson's hurt now. They need Corey Perry to be chipping in like he did last year. So I just think that the team has started off really slow, but I mean they're too talented to not get it together and get it going here at some point. And they might be in the back of their head saying, "Well, you know what? We started off pretty slow last year and turned it around." So maybe that's kind of what they're thinking about, and maybe it's just a matter of time before they do kick it into gear here. But I think they will. It's just maybe they got to make a move before that happens. But we'll have to see.
Well, I just wanted to look at some of the points of some of their top players. So Draisaitl he has 27 points in 20 games. I mean, you can't argue with that. McDavid has 24 points in 17 games. Tough to argue there.
Hmm.
Next on the team, though, in order is Bouchard with 13 points in 20 games. And then after that, it's 10 points. And I mean, it gets pretty
Yeah.
thin after after three players. Mike, is this team deep enough? Do they need to make more changes up front too? And I know you're talking about the defense, but is
I,
it maybe just the defense, or are the forwards okay here? What's going on?
I think that the forwards should be okay. I mean, Hyman's got to get going as
He
well.
doesn't even have 10
Yeah,
points, Mike.
yeah, I know. That's what I mean. And I mean, he was a 40 goal scorer last year.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, he has had a poor start. Nugent Hopkins has had a poor start. Skinner's had a poor start. Perry's had a poor start. I mean, like these guys, these are the guys that they need to step up to get some secondary scoring. They can't keep relying on McDavid and Draisaitl to win games for them. I mean, if one of these guys get hurt, which McDavid already did and came back quite quickly,
Yep.
but if he had missed any significant time, I mean, it wouldn't be good. So I think they just need to find a way to get this secondary scoring going. And I mean, you look at last year; it was the same thing. First couple of weeks or 3 4 weeks, whatever it was, and then they fired the coach. Then the team turned it around just like that. Now, not saying that they got to fire the coach because you can't just fire the coach every time you start off terribly. So uh, I think it's just a matter of time before this team steps it up and gets going. But I mean, they've got to do it soon. They just can't be going like the way they are, or else they're going to be a borderline wild card team. So and I really think it starts on the defense because, like you said, Bouchard with only 13 points, like last year, he was tearing it up,
He
even in the
was.
playoffs. So, um, not quite sure. Maybe I think he was paired up with CC last year, so maybe the change in defense partners has really affected him a little bit. So, I mean, who knows? But they've got to get it figured out.
They are in a playoff spot, though, I believe, when I looked the other day.
I think they're a wild card spot, yeah. So, but I mean, there's so many teams that are close now at this point of the season. It's only a few points separating,
Right.
the wild card teams from the non-playoff teams. So,
All right. Well, let's go into our fourth topic for this evening is Nathan MacKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Colorado, so I wanted to bring them up here tonight. Now, MacKinnon leads the NHL in points with 34 points in 19 games. I mean, you can't argue with his production level. The
hmm.
Avalanche record is only 10-9. That's it, 10-9. They're one game over 500. Does MacKinnon need to do even more for this team to be more consistent? Or is Colorado going to figure it out on their own? And I would just want to add one more caveat here, Mike, just on a personal note. I'm just wondering, is it just the fact that Colorado lets in too many damn goals? What do you
uh, you know what? I think that's exactly it. They do give up a lot of goals. I mean, Georgiev has had a bad season so far. I know he's played a little bit better the last couple of games that he's been in, but he was hurt. Now he's back, so I don't know if he's. I think he's supposed to start the next game. That's tonight or tomorrow night. But um, so he's back now, but they need him to be in much better form, like he was last year, than what he's done so far this year. Um, they just got Nikushkin back, so I think once they can, get him going, that's going to help. There's still no timetable on Landeskog to come back, so they haven't totally figured that out. I think they said that he had a bit of a setback, but they didn't really get into any details. So I wouldn't expect him anytime soon based off of that information. But I think the team is it's trending in the right direction. They've turned it around a little bit quicker than than Boston has, than Edmonton has. So although they're pretty much the same amount of points as Edmonton, but Colorado had started off in a lot worse position than the Oilers did
right?
this year. So um, I think that Colorado is going to be fine. I mean, Rantanen and McKinnon and Makar, they hold up a good end of that team, and Middlestad's been all right there as centerman. They've got a couple other guys that have. Drouin's been hurt as well, so he's back now. So I think once they get all these guys back in their familiar line placements, because I think maybe changing up the lines due to all these injuries has really affected them too. So now that everybody's pretty much back for the team that they had last year, I think that you're going to see Colorado start to play a lot better.
Well, I hope so. I like it when Colorado scores a lot of goals. I just wish they wouldn't let in so many goals. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure that they're going to work on that as the season goes along. Hopefully, they really could use another goalie too, I think. But
Yeah.
what can you do? Yeah, it is what it is. So now, Mike, I just wanted to mention something. I know I don't have this on the list here, but I want to just talk real quick about the Nashville Predators, who are 6-11-3. I mean, what the heck is going on? This team looks horrendous. They can't get a break.
Yeah, it's surprising. Like before the season, like myself and everybody included thought, oh, Nashville made a lot of great moves. They're going to be much better, and they should be. But and they were good in the preseason, and I know it's just preseason hockey, but um, man, I don't know what's happened with these guys. Like Marchessault hasn't been good. Stamkos hasn't been good. Ryan O'Reilly has not been as good as he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of these guys, Forsberg hasn't been as good as he was last year. The defense hasn't been as good. And the strange thing is they made offseason moves to improve in all of these areas, and they're worse. It's I don't get it. Like I thought Nashville would have been one of the top teams in the West, but never. If you had told me before the season started they were going to be the second worst team in the West and only ahead of Chicago, I'd have thought you're crazy. Um, so I just don't know what's going on there. But they better figure it out like now because they're
Right.
going to miss the playoffs. And I never thought I would say that they're going to miss the playoffs, but they're going to miss the playoffs if they don't, go on a run here. And I mean, they got to do it like now. If not, it's going to be too late.
They're going to have to do a St. Louis Blues second half of the season, the year that St. Louis won the cup, is what they're going to have to do.
Well, they're going to have to do that, or they're going to have to do like the Oilers did last year, and
Right.
at the 20 game mark, or which where we're at right now, uh, start to step up and get this team going because there's no way that with the talent that they have on that team that they should be in the position that they're in right now. And nobody, I don't think, would have predicted this. So it's very,
Well,
very surprising.
if you had to predict this earlier in the year, I would have told you were nuts. I wouldn't have. I
Exactly.
would have said,
Yeah.
no way. You're crazy.
Yeah.
So before we go on to our hockey profit segment, Mike, was there anything else you wanted to go over in tonight's episode?
Um, just to maybe touch up a little bit on Minnesota and how well they've done. Like, Kaprizov is, I think, top two or top three in scoring in the NHL. I think he's only behind McDavid in points.
Number two.
Um, and I mean, he's tearing it up. Erickson X played well. Boldy's played very well. The defense has been good. Faber's been good. The goaltending's been good. Um, if you had asked me before the season, like I said, and I know we've talked about Minnesota a little bit already this year, but I wouldn't have thought they would have been in the current position that they're in right now. But they just seem to have everything on track with that team. So, and it's almost it's almost scary because this offseason when they get Suitors hit off the books, and Parise's hit off the books is $14 million that they're going to have to play with. So
Wow.
let's just hope that they don't maybe spend it the way the Nashville Predators
Predators.
have. Like, although it's uh, so yeah, but if they can pry away some really good players in the off season, without having the Nashville Predator situation happen to them, they could be pretty scary next year.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That's a lot of money that they could put to potential good use. Now, Mike, let's go on to our hockey profit segment where you are the hockey prophet. I've got 5 questions here. I'm going to name off real quick. We're going to see how fast we can do this, and we'll see how many of these you feel that you get right. Okay. So, are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
Okay, number one. Was it a surprise to you that Connor McDavid scored his 1,000th point in the fourth fewest games at 659?
No, not surprised at all.
Number two, the Anaheim Ducks are 8-8-2 this year. Will they finish over 500?
No,
No. Okay.
no, they'll be sellers before the deadline. So
They'll be sellers. Okay.
yeah.
Number three is Kaprizov of Minnesota has the second most points in the league so far this year with 33. Will he finish in the top five in points?
Yes, he will. He's that good.
Well, I bet you wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the season, though.
I would have said top 15, but
Top
maybe
15.
not
Okay,
top
fair.
five. But yeah, I definitely think he can get top five the way he's going.
That's a lot of points he has. Okay, number four. Detroit Red Wings have the third best power play percentage in the league. Yeah, I was shocked, Mike. I'm telling you, at 32%. Will their power play finish above 25%?
Ooh, geez, that's tough. I'm gonna say yes. I mean, if they've got it going right now, I think they should be able to at least maintain 25%.
I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, wow, that is one heck of a good power
It is a
play.
little surprising considering that they've lost some defensemen, but
Mhm.
I don't know. They just have seem to have a system that works.
Well, okay. And finally, Mike, number five, and I'm sure you will be glad when this is all over with. What Flyers player would you like to see step it up and start producing more to help the team win?
Morgan Frost, a
and,
major
and
disappointment, but I have a feeling he might end up being traded. Um, so if not Morgan Frost, my next one would be Cam York. We need a defenseman that can do something.
do any of the Flyers defensemen have double digit points yet, Mike?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think Sanheim might have 10. I know he's right around 10. So whether he's at 9 or 10, I'm not sure, but it's tough to watch. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen Tortorella's post game interview after they lost to Carolina last night, but
Oh,
yeah,
I did not. No, I didn't get a chance to see it.
yeah, he was extremely upset with Scott Lawton. Um, they went into the game and he's like, and he was mad and it was obvious. He's like, we talked in the room right before the game to make sure that we get the pucks through the middle, like out of the neutral zone. He's like, very first shift, Scott Lawton gives it away in the middle, and they scored. Carolina scored 30 seconds into the game, so they ended up benching him for part of the game. But he's like, we just talked about it, like not even 10 minutes before the game, and first shift. He's like, you can't have that. So I mean, you know what? There's people that don't like Tortorella, and I get it. He's a tough coach, but I mean, I love Tortorella. Like I've said it before, um, he gets the best out of the guys that want to be better than what they are. The guys that are just kind of going through the motions are not going to work with him. So the players that want to be a better player will be better players with his coaching, but it's tough because there are players that just don't care for that type of style that we shall see moving forward.
Well, Lawton's probably going to be gone soon by the sound of
He
it.
was rumored to be a potential trade candidate last year around the deadline. There was a couple teams that were looking into trying to get him. So Uh, at best he's a third line player, and I mean that's on the Flyers, so that means he's probably a fourth line guy on another team. But um, I don't see a long term future for him in Philadelphia, nor do I see one for Morgan Frost. I think next year Luchenko is going to make the team, and he's going to be one of the centermen on one of the top two lines. So uh, yeah, it's going to be tough to see these guys back next year if they'll even finish the season this year in Philadelphia.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Mike, your answers took about 2 minutes and 45 seconds or so. I stopped the clock when we were talking about some of the other, as
Yeah.
you went on about some of the other players, but that's pretty good. So, thank you very much for answering those questions, Mike. I appreciate your honesty, and you do not know these questions ahead of time. So, we like to throw that in there, a little mixture, just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I
Now, I
didn't
know I already
realize that
asked
you had
you.
Kaprizov as one of the topics because I brought him
I
up.
know, I know.
So,
And when you said his name, I'm like, darn it. But that's okay. That's all right. It's okay. Now, I already asked you if there's anything else you wanted to go over, but I usually ask you at the end of the Hockey Profit segment, not before. So I don't know. I got a little off track. But was there anything else you wanted to go over tonight, or is that everything for tonight's episode?
uh, you know, well, we could just briefly talk about Ovechkin getting hurt.
Yeah.
So he's out
Go
now
ahead.
4 to 6 weeks. So
That
it's going to
is
be
terrible.
extremely difficult for him to catch Gretzky now this year. Um, missing, he's going to miss probably 15 games, maybe, I would say,
Hmm.
roughly.
At
So,
least.
yeah. So, I mean, that's not going to, and it's not, a fractured fibula is what he's got. So you're not going to be able to rush him back from that. So, it's unfortunate. I was really hoping to see, late in the year, because I figured if he was going to catch Gretzky, it would be, March, April
Mhm.
timeframe. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that this year. So I guess we get to look, unless he goes on some miraculous run when he does come back. But I mean,
Well, he was already on a miraculous run. I mean,
he was, yeah, but it's he's gonna basically have to get a goal a game when he gets back in order to have a shot this year. So
right.
not gonna be easy.
He had the most goals in the league the other night. I couldn't believe it when I saw
15,
that.
yeah, 15 goals. He was two ahead of Sam Reinhart at the time. So a couple
Yeah.
empty net
Well,
goals here and there help out a little bit, I think. So
absolutely, absolutely. So, well, it's too bad for Washington. I mean, the team has just been cooking. You certainly can't complain about the way they've been playing.
yeah, it's gonna
So,
be interesting to see if they can keep that going without him and who steps up to uh, keep that production going on that team while he's out. So we'll
all
have to
right.
see.
Well, go Ovechkin, go Capitals. Maybe Ovechkin can come back a couple of weeks early. That'd be really nice. I know it's unlikely, but maybe it'll happen. So, stranger things have happened, a la Mike Medano falling out of the ambulance
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
stretcher way back. How many years ago was
Oh,
that, Mike?
yes. Remember that. He was on your fantasy pool team and back the next game. I don't even think he missed the game. You must have sent him a message saying, "Hey, listen, I need you back." Sure enough, he was out there.
I think he missed one game.
Okay.
I think he missed one game.
Yeah.
They said he was going to be out for like 6 weeks or something. So,
Yeah. Wouldn't be
all right.
surprised.
All right. Well, like, share, and subscribe, folks. We really appreciate you watching and listening. And let us know in the comments where we went wrong, because I'm sure we did something wrong. And we'll see you next week. Later.
Later.